You know, it's an interesting fact. More sunlight strikes the earth in an hour than the entire human population uses in a year. It is our most abundant energy source.
My name is Brett Warwick, and I am the operations manager for the Olympia Farmers Market.
My name is Mason Rolfe. I own and operate Olympia Community Solar.
Well, my name is Kirk Hafner. I am the owner of South Sound Solar.
My name is Pagan Frank. I'm the executive director of the Salmon Defense. We litigate, advocate, and educate on behalf of Pacific Northwest Salmon. We were created in 2003.
So the Olympia Farmers Market is a vendor-run organization which hosts about 104 vendors that are active throughout the year. We provide an area for the community to come together, provide local processed goods, farms, a lot of craft goods, just a lot of things for people to come and be able to shop locally and support their businesses and the people that are, and smaller scale local business production.
In 2005, the state legislature passed the first solar incentive bill, and it was my passion from high school. And so I started the process of looking into what it would take to become a contractor and solar installer. And we've been in business since 2008, based here locally in Thurston County in Olympia.
So community solar is when you have a single solar array that is owned by and benefits multiple owners. It could be 2, it could be 100, but the idea is that anyone who can't put a solar array on their rooftop, and that's most people, should be able to participate in an off-site solar array and still see benefits. In order to put solar on your home or be able to access traditional rooftop solar, you have to have a lot of things line up. You have to own your home, you have to have a sunny rooftop that's in good condition, and you need the funding to pay for a system or access to financing. And if one of those factors doesn't line up, then you probably can't participate in the clean energy economy. And so a mechanism like community solar, where we can put solar on a beautiful commercial rooftop and allow anyone in the community to participate, is an awesome tool to provide access. There are 58 private owners of the project, so we had 58 participants, and 14 of those participants are local nonprofits that donors donated solar units to. So as the solar generates electricity, every year we'll pay those 58 owners for their portion of the system, including making donations to the nonprofits that receive portions.
We're so grateful and honored for the work that Olympia Community Solar has been doing and is doing and will do. They're trailblazers and innovative thought leaders, and they're actually doing the work that needs to be done in order to shift mindsets and shift the way that we're doing things, because obviously the old way of doing things isn't working. Our salmon are facing quasi-extinction, which means if we don't do something now, collectively, in 25 years, the salmon will begin to go into extinction. That's just not ESA listings. It's a literal extinction.
So this project started with a call from the city of Olympia. There was an older system on the building, and they asked us to come down and look at its condition. We made the recommendation that they remove the system and promised that if they did, we would replace it with a new one. And that's kind of how this project started.
And so I came on once the project was just beginning. It was just we just approved things through the board. And so my process was going through the grants, communicating with Olympia Community Solar, and then searching out the appropriate contractor, which we ended up with South Sound Solar. They had great reviews. They had done the system prior, which there was one that was installed, I believe, in 2014.
There was a previous system on the market that was removed, and to make room for a new system with the newest technology and the better panels. And so one of the things we did is we utilized that old infrastructure in order to save cost and have less of an impact on the market. And that was one thing, then again, simplicity in design that I brought to it.
So the system's made up of 198 Solfab solar panels. Those are made up in Bellingham, Washington. Really proud to use made in Washington equipment. It'll generate about $7,800 of electricity every year, enough electricity to provide 100% of the market's needs. So this will be, to my knowledge, the first 100% clean powered farmers market in Washington.
Olympia Farmers Market is one of the only vendor-run markets in the entire state. And so that means the entire board's made up of the vendors that operate through here, and the costs that are associated are put through stall fees and people that are going to be participating. So the fact that we have something that's environmentally friendly and conscious, something that's going to be able to lower our footprint a bit more, it just puts a stamp on what we're trying to achieve as an organization.
As you look over my shoulder here, you'll notice that how the panels are organized in place. There's things called strings, where panels are grouped together in series. And there's many parallel strings. In this system, there's 12 parallel strings, I believe it is. And so you'll look at each row as a string for simplicity. And you'll notice on the design, there's not conduit running all over the place. You know, there's not exposed rails, there's not exposed wiring. It's just a very clean, simple design.
A significant portion, more than a third of the project, was donated to the market's nonprofit arm, the Friends of the Farmers Market. So every year, the Friends will have thousands of dollars of new income that they can use to do capital improvements, support the vendors, pay for expenses that the market couldn't otherwise afford. I think there's a symbolism behind using solar to power a farmer's market itself. So when we talk about a local agricultural economy, a big part of that's just, the things we grow with the sun. And so here we're growing a community with sunlight. I'll have to work on that one.
What we're doing and how Olympia Solar projects help us is we're building a communications campaign to help educate the public on what the issues are. It's not just a conservation issue. Tribes have been in conservation mode, forced into conservation mode for the last 30 years, as well as commercial fishermen and sports fishermen. And the numbers of salmon keep dwindling down and down. So it's not a conservation issue, it's a habitat issue. We continue to lose habitat every day, more than we're able to restore it. In order for everybody to have fish on their plates, we have to produce hatchery salmon until our wild salmon come back. And we're not going to have wild salmon until we do something about our habitat and really restore it. And so that's why we're so grateful for Olympia Solar, because they're funding our education and outreach pieces.
A lot of my focus on this work has been around just preventing harm. Like a lot of my introduction to clean energy was through fighting the bad aspects of the energy economy, like trying to prevent pipelines and such, and seeing like the active harm that's being caused in frontline communities. So I'd say my big legacy is to see that harm end, or at least be reduced.
I think it's going to be a lasting image and representation of what my mission as the operations manager, as a servant to the board and to this community, is pushing things that are going to be more conscious of the environment, things that are more green, more sustainable. And I think that's something that's very important. That should be a main focus of all organizations, but particularly being a farmers market, which we're supporting local, trying to do things that are smaller scale, less impact. It's a reminder for everybody that that's what we stand for. And I'm really glad that I was able to be a part of this and push forward that kind of viewpoint for everybody to see, especially since it's such a dominant viewpoint when you're heading down from the downtown area towards the port.
Billy Frank Jr. used to always say when the salmon are healthy, we are healthy, and bringing the salmon back is about restoring the balance to our health and to our Mother Earth, so that future generations can possibly maybe live the way that our ancestors once did, in a healthy, happy manner, and also it's not just us that'll benefit from it. It's all the people, and it takes all of us working together to do that.
I've always had this personal ethic that I said I'm going to hold myself accountable, but I'm also going to hold the industry accountable, right? To make sure that solar is done well, that they're quality installs, that the pricing is fair. My big thing is my employees, my community, and overall working towards a carbon-free economy. And so working backwards on that, the carbon-free economy to me is very important. I've got grandchildren now, and I want to make sure that, I get choked up when I think about where the planet is heading, and we've got a limited time, right, to make it to where they have a future, for any kids to have a future. And I know that, I'm a scientist, that climate science is real, and we've really got to take drastic action to reverse course on that. And, I'm very grateful to be a part of that. I apologize. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, because I'm passionate about solar.